Here we have a new 2023 Lincoln Nautilus. This one comes in the reserve trim level. This color is flight blue metallic. Then we have sandstone perforated leather interior. And the powertrain consists of a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. But as we come around to the front end here, we do get LED headlamps along with LED daytime running lights. And they don't flash like that, that's just how the camera picks it up. But love the design, very Navigator-esque in my opinion. It really does look like a small Navigator. They did a great job with that front end. And come around to these wheels here, spectacular 20-inch wheels. A great look, and I love that they went with the bigger wheels and not trying to make them smaller. But we get passive keyless entry on all 4 doors. We do get that premium Revel sound system. Power door lock controls here, memory seat functions there. And then we have our power window controls, and they're all gonna be one-touch automatic up and down. We have power folding mirrors with blind spot monitors. And then our power mirror controls are here. We can toggle them on and off, and then we can adjust as need be to either side. Rear window lock is here. Pretty good storage size. It goes back, way back in there. And then a bottle holder here. This is for the power lift gate. We can toggle our traction control here. And then we also have our brightness for the gauge cluster on either side. And then we can adjust our headlamps auto, corners off, and then we can go all the way up to the headlamps being all the way on. And then we have an electronic parking brake. Pull up to engage, hit the brake, press down to disengage. Let's open that hood for later. Take a look in the engine bay. And here's our power driver seat with power lumbar support. And we do get a power tilt and telescoping steering wheel as well. But I have that seat right there just for someone of my size, being 6'3", and how I sit when I drive. So let's check out this rear legroom. And sorry for the wind, it's an extremely windy day today. But pretty good legroom, honestly, for the segment. Knees are just barely touching the back of the seat here. We do get the seat pockets on both sides, which I like. Rear AC vents are here, 2-stage heated outboard seats, 12-volt and 2 USB-C charge ports, and I love how we can stow that away. Looks very nice. And this seat's actually leaned back quite a bit, so I can lean that back and forth, which actually helps with how I'm seated here. But in the back, have about ½ an inch or so of headroom here. Grab handle here. We could probably fit 1 or 2 thin hooks on this, hanger hooks on this here. And then we do have the premium dome and map lights throughout. And then center seat folds down, cup holders here. But let's go ahead and start making our way to the back. Now, if you need to use the child lock, stick a key in there or whatever and turn it. You can turn it one way or the other. Fuel fillers here. And then coming around to the back end here. Great design, again, really does remind me of a Navigator with the light bar across the back. Great look there. And that's where the trunk button is. Plenty of storage behind the second row, and oh, look at this. We can power fold or power release the second row seats, which is great. 12-volt here. And then we have hooks that come out here. We can hang grocery bags or smaller objects in plastic bags, whatever. And then there is your spare tire right underneath this here. And I just love the chimes of the Lincolns, even closing that trunk there. Nice peaceful sound. There's our dual exhaust there. And then we're gonna go around to the rear passenger side. I'm gonna show you how you can fold that down. From the back, all you have to do is just pull up here and that'll fold flat, and you can also use it to lean the seat back and forth. But a huge shout out to Ford, Lincoln of Franklin for allowing me to review this Nautilus today. I'll leave a link below to the vehicle as well as their entire inventory in the description below. But it's bright and windy out, so I'm gonna try and make sure y'all can see this window sticker. So here are all of your standard features. Just pause anywhere you need to. Hope I'm getting everything. There's the color and all that. And then options are gonna be down here. We do that Copilot 360 1.0. And then this one stickers right at 58065. But here to the front passenger seat, we do get power and power lumbar support here as well. And then love how they did the storage. You have the storage pocket in here, and then you have a large storage area underneath as well. And then there's our glove compartment there, which we can lock. And then I love this wood grain here. Fantastic look, just having that go across. But now we're just gonna take a quick look in the engine bay. And there's that 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. We'll test that out, see how it does when we go for our test drive. But overall, I love the design of the vehicle, inside and out, just seems so premium. Now here we have our leather wrap steering wheel, which feels fantastic. And I'll show you where you can heat that here in a moment. But here we have our infotainment screen. We get AM, FM, XM radio along with Bluetooth audio. And we also have wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto compatibility as well. There is our navigation system. Favorites are here. We can edit what's down here as well if you want to do that. And then it's pretty neat. You can have it just the way you want to. So I can put ambient lighting there. And then let's say I wanted to put the hotspot there as well. You can do that. So pretty cool. And then you have your apps there. Settings here, you go to vehicle, toggle the auto stop, rear occupant alert, so on and so forth. And then general settings here, you can change it to miles or change the language, whatever. So pretty nice owner's manual as well. Now over here to the climate side, that's where that heated steering wheel toggle is here, and you can actually toggle what's on this tile here, which I love. Or you use the buttons down here. We do have 3-stage heated cooled seats for the driver, front passenger. We can toggle the whole system on and off there. 3-stage auto mode, so we can set that fan speed to high, medium, or low. Sorry about that. And then we can change the fan direction here, and it actually pulls that up, and then you can decide where you want the air to come from. And then with it being dual zone, we can adjust that, and it pulls up the temperature for each passenger depending on where you are there. And then we do have our driver assistance toggle there. We can turn that on and off, so auto hold, start, stop. We do get parking assistance as well, so we can just hit that button. It'll try and find a parking spot, whether you want a perpendicular park, parallel park. You can toggle those, and then your camera's there. I gotta X out of this first. There it is. So I can toggle between that front camera, and then we have different views for that as well. And it actually shows you the parking sensors in the back as well, when that's applicable. And then you have that 360 view. Get that off. Am I missing anything else? If you want to pair, just go in here, add phone, it walks you through it.
Search for your vehicle on your device and select it.
So pretty easy to do there. Now for the shifter, it's all push button. Press P for park, R for reverse, N for neutral, D for drive. And then you have that S there, the sport mode. And then for the radio, we have a volume knob here. You can mute there just by clicking that. And then your tune knob is here. You turn your screen off here. And then you can toggle your sources using that button. Hazards are here. You have a wireless charging pad deep back in there, and then you can stow this back and forth. So you just pull, and then USB-C, USB-A input here. Cup holders there. And then I love the center console cubby tray because you can either lift up and it shows this top pocket here, or if you hit the left button, it has two buttons here. I don't know if you can see that. And then if you hit this one, Wait, I might have had them backwards. Yeah, you hit the right one, and then it pulls up the entire storage compartment in there, and then you have a 12 volt as well. So this one here does everything, and then this one here just shows you that tray there. And over here, this is for the sunshade, sunroof controls, dome light controls. Then we do have a sunglass holder here. But we do have a one-touch tilter slide panoramic sunroof. I love that it goes back all the way one touch. But there's the look at the back from up here. And then going back to the steering wheel, volume controls are here, trackless radio station presets are here, cruise controls, all of that is here. So lane centering assistance, gap adjust, turn everything on and off. And then here, voice recognition, you can use this to go through your gauge cluster. And I like this because what you can do is actually set up, if you hit this display button, you can go into your settings and set the gauges. So if you wanted to show the speedometer, the tachometer as well, you can do that. And then you have a different view there. And then you can toggle that middle section instead of the right side. It's awesome having that. And you can decide what you want to see, what you normally use, so on and so forth. And then you have your settings here, and you can go through your driver assistance, the vehicle, speedometer, and you can turn all of that on and off. So I really like that. And then we can set the nav there. Turn that on. Blinkers here. Lane keep assist toggle is there. And then flash high beams, you can turn the high beams on and off by hitting that. And windshield wiper controls, you can adjust how sensitive your automatic wipers are here. And then that's one time. You have your auto mode, low and high. And then your rear wipers here. Pull back for rear wiper fluid, push up for front wiper fluid. Push button start right here. Finally, here's the key fob with remote start. And now it's time to go ahead and take this Lincoln Nautilus out on the road for a quick test drive. So starting the test drive for the Nautilus, I always felt like this was in its own kind of realm. It's similar to the Edge, but just the way it looks, the space inside, it feels like it should be in between an Escape and an Edge in terms of a Lincoln counterpart. And with the Edge, that's always been in a realm of its own as well, because if you want to compare it to, let's say, a Chevy Equinox or a Chevy Traverse, I feel like it's right in between those two, just with how it's made. It seems almost like the Audi Q8 is, where it's just out there, and people who just want a two-row SUV with space, that's where you go, as opposed to going to a smaller one, like maybe a Q5 if you want an Audi. So the Nautilus, to me, it has a niche market. Now you can compare it to, let's say, the Lexus RX or maybe a Honda Passport, something like that. I wouldn't even go that big. Maybe a CRV, but with a $58,000 price tag, it's hard to find its true competitor, because vehicles around its size usually are not that much money unless it is in the luxury brand. But this is basically the luxury Ford Edge counterpart. But anyways, it rides like it should. The ride is very luxurious, very smooth. All the material in here looks good, feels good. And the push button shifter here, I wasn't really sure about, because I've driven several Lincolns, but I like how this is set up here. My only issue is kind of everything is close together, but you should be paying attention when you're using the shifter anyway. But as opposed to having a floor shifter where I can just, I know, park, reverse, neutral, drive, I have to hit, like, go over here, make sure I'm not accidentally hitting reverse instead of neutral, whatever, but not really that big of a deal. There's the auto stop. Now the sport mode is pretty peppy. I'm surprised I don't have a knob of some sort to kind of go between eco, sport, and a slippery or whatever, but this is a two-wheel drive vehicle, so not really a lot of use in having different conditions when you're only having two wheels, I guess. But pretty quiet in the cabin. It just sounds quite marvelous in here, let me say that. Pretty impressed all the way around. And I tested out the Revel sound system. The Revel sound system is pretty phenomenal. Now, of course, as you go into the Navigator and you get that Pro sound system, has more speakers, a subwoofer, all that. That sounds better than this system, but compared to a base Escape system, this is pretty impressive. Now in sport mode, it gets a bit peppier. Now, of course, to feel the full effect of this 2-liter turbo, you pretty much have to put your foot down into it, which I don't want to necessarily do now, but it does have quite a bit of power. And I'll try and exercise that as I get on the interstate here momentarily. So I'm gonna give it some throttle getting on the interstate here as soon as I can. But of course, in the sport mode, it definitely tends to rev hot as it's getting ready to do a pull of some sorts. So pretty good power there. And the ride is actually quite nice. And I like that even with the 1.0, we do get the lane centering, we get the adaptive cruise control. Of course, it's not gonna be like Blue Cruise or anything like that. You're supposed to keep your hands on the steering wheel, but as you can see, that's not a necessity. But wind noise in here is very, very good. I don't know if you all heard all the wind that was going on earlier when I was reviewing the outside of the vehicle, or before I drove it, I should say. But it was quite windy outside, and I am not getting any of that for the most part in here. But in terms of competition, like I said, it's even for the Cadillac, I just feel like it would be an XT5 competitor, but just how low slung and sleek it is, it seems smaller, even though the interior says otherwise. But comparing that to an XT4, an XT5, whatever it is, I'm actually surprised the 2-liter pushes this so well without having to get a bigger engine or even a V6. So $60,000, you be the judge of whether you want to pay that for a Lincoln Nautilus, but this will bring me to the end of my review of this Lincoln Nautilus Reserve.